Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Beanie and welcome back to another player review. This is my first video in a few days. I've just been, for the past like 2 weeks, I've just been like on and off sick. Like one day I'll wake up and I'm not, I don't know, I think I may have like mono or something, but I think I'm getting over it. And now we're back to making videos, and today we are going to be reviewing the new event rewards, and we are going to be reviewing the Player of the Month cards. So we're about to get into that, and we're gonna do the Loui Tiant last, guys, because holy crap, this card is insane. And I've got a lot of things to say about that. But anyways, let's get into the player review. Okay, starting out, we're going to talk about the 92 overall Gary Sanchez card, and this is a very strange card. It's one of those kind of classic right-handed hitters that will probably have a smaller PCI but has a ton of power. It's kind of strange seeing that from the catcher position, because typically you see that from like maybe speedy outfielders who strike out a lot or something, but I don't know. As a hitter, this card is obviously going to be great if you are really good with PCI placement. And if you're really good with PCI placement, I don't know how much of a difference the contact is going to make, because the power numbers are, you know, fairly similar, but against lefties, his PCI is going to be minuscule. Against righties, it's probably going to look sort of similar to maybe Mike Trout's PCI, you know, kind of a low vision, high contact type of guy. But his power is always going to be there. He's a very solid hitter. Defensively, he is just kind of average. He's okay. He has a kind of a strong arm, like an 80 arm strength is okay. You're going to be able to throw out some runners. His fielding and his reaction and his blocking is just kind of blah. And on the speed front, we really don't care about that with catchers, but 49 speed, I guess, is like almost right in the middle. Like that, you know, a lot of catchers have like 20 speed, so it's better than that, but it's not great or anything like that. So I put his stuff into the formula, and I came out with a fag of a 7.2, well above average catcher. It's nice that we're getting more and more usable catchers in the game, and this is certainly one of those guys. I just don't think he's going to be elite for very, like, I don't think he's elite right now, but I don't think he's going to be elite down the road either. Like, he's just going to be an okay guy that you can put on your squad, but if you get this guy, it's really, you know, trying to complete the whole mission. Okay, moving on, we've got the 93 overall Jose Ramirez, and honestly, I think this card should have been the mission reward for collecting all of the other guys, because this card is awesome. I love this card. As a hitter, he's a switch hitter. He is on the short side, so that does kind of detract a little bit. But as a hitter, his PCI is going to be enormous. Very high contact, very high vision. He's got some pop, 72 power, or 72, 68 power. He's going to be able to drive the ball, you know, from both sides of the plate fairly effectively. Defensively, he's not anything special, but he does have some pretty decent speed to kind of help that along a little bit. And he plays 4 different premium positions: third base, second base, shortstop, left field. That is extremely valuable. I think that this guy is one of the most valuable bench pieces in the game. You know, like the Ben Zobrist they came out with like a few days ago, and or like last week, and this guy is kind of in that same vein, a guy that you probably won't buy to start him, but a guy that you would probably use on the bench. And I think that this card is definitely, I think he's much better than the Ben Zobrist in that capacity, even though he doesn't play as many positions as the Ben Zobrist. He hits better, and he has more speed. So I gave this guy a fag of an 8.5, a well above average guy. And if you plan on, you can definitely start this guy, but if you play him on your bench, he is going to be an elite option for you. Okay, moving on, we're going to talk about the 90 overall Chase Anderson card. This guy is somebody who I think is going to be criminally underrated all year. This card is very, very intriguing. For a starter, 83.79, that's a 158 combined. And, you know, we always look for that 155 to 160. He's right in that range. You know, if you look at control, he has good control too. I'm not a big guy into that, but it's there if you want it. His pitch selection is amazing. I would like it if he had a slider. That's probably the only downside to it, but everything else is just on point. He has 3 very good fastballs, a 4-seam sinker and cutter. He has a good curveball and a good circle change, and he throws extremely hard, and he has very good break to go along with it. Somebody messaged me saying that his sinker can get up to like 94, and his 4-seam is up there too. I don't know about the cutter. Maybe the cutter is a little slower and it can kind of serve to, you know, keep guys off balance and everything. I think that this guy could be an incredible starter for you. If you're in need for a starting pitcher and you don't want to spend over like 30-ish K, I think that this guy is definitely the guy to go with. I really, really like this pitcher, and I gave him a fag of an 8.5. I think he has about the same value as that Jose Ramirez card, and I think that he is just like bordering on being elite. All right, now let's talk about the 88 overall David Hernandez card. I'm not really super stoked on this card. He has average per nines for a gold diamond reliever. You know, 78-88 is nothing special. His stuff is pretty good. You know, he has 80 velocity, 93 break. That's very reliable and very good, very effective. But his pitch selection is just okay. I mean, a 4-seam slider curveball, he's probably going to be pretty effective against right-handed hitters, but against lefties, he might struggle a little bit. It kind of reminds me a lot of the John Axford card. I think the 98 or the 89 overall John Axford that you get for completing the Brewers collection. It reminds me a lot of that card. And because of that, I'm not super stoked on that card, and I'm really not that, you know, hype about this card either. But I do think he's going to be above average, and I gave him a fag of a 6.9. Moving on, we got another catcher, which I'm very happy about. Catcher has a tendency to be a very thin position. It's starting to get a lot deeper. They're starting to add more and more guys. I don't know how much this guy moves the needle because he's not fantastic. He has extremely low vision. He has a lot of power, and his contact, you know, is below average. He's probably, you know, his PCI size is going to be even smaller than the Gary Sanchez's versus righties, actually much smaller. And against lefties, it's going to be a little bit bigger, but not like significantly. I don't know, maybe you would want to like platoon those two guys. That'd be kind of weird. But I don't know. I don't like guys like this. Guys with reverse, or guys with platoon splits that, you know, can't hit righties well. But he can hit righties well. He has power, but you just got to be very, very accurate with your PCI. And defensively, you know, he's just kind of meh. He has good blocking, and his arm strength is okay. His fielding is below average. This guy just doesn't really do it for me. But if you're more into, if you're looking for a catcher that has some pop and you're not really worried about PCI placement or anything like that, maybe this is the guy that you go for. He's definitely a cheap option. You can get him for like 1,000 stubs. Like, he's not expensive at all. But you know, he's an above average guy, but definitely, you know, very, very far from elite. So I gave him a fag of a 5.8. And then finally we have the Jacob Aria and the 86 overall. And I think this is a guy that could get overlooked just because he's a gold, but he's very good, guys. He has, you know, borderline elite per nines for a starter. Not borderline elite, but well above average. Very, very good per nines. 161 combined. That is very, very good. And he has good pitch selection, you know, a nice little 4-seam, a slider, changeup, and a 12-6. That's about what you want in your pitch selection. And then, you know, the one downside to him is he doesn't throw really hard. He just, you know, kind of has average velocity. He'll probably be able to, you know, sit 93, maybe run it up to 94. I don't know. I haven't used this card yet, but I saw him that's kind of where I think he'll sit. But his breaking stuff is very good. I think that this is a guy that in certain situations where you have roster restrictions or something like that, this could be a guy that is effective in those types of scenarios. And I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.9. That's just whenever per nines for starters are weighted kind of heavily in my formula. So that kind of bumped him up a little bit. It does feel a little high on him. but that's what the formula turned out, and I think that it's not too far off of what he'd give you. I think he'd probably give you more in like the 7.2, 7.3 range, but since the formula gave us a 7.9, that's what we're going to stick with. All right, and the final reward that you get for doing the Player of the Month mission is the 94 overall Cody Bellinger card. And I kind of have a bone to pick with this card. And it's on defense. Defensively, coming into his professional or his major league career, Cody Bellinger was viewed as almost like a transcendent defender at first base who could also play an effective outfield. Like, people were saying he was going to be one of the like Keith Hernandez elite at first base. And I think they kind of nerfed his fielding. I think his fielding should be a lot better. You know, maybe they did it because he has those secondaries in the outfield and they didn't want to make him like an amazing defensive outfielder or something, but this guy is better than a 73 overall glove at first base. I'm sorry, he just is. Or he's going to be, at least. Like, I haven't really looked at his defensive metrics. I just know what I saw in the scouting reports coming into his career, and people viewed him as an unbelievable defensive first baseman. You know, hitting-wise, he is very good, but he's just a left-handed power-hitting first baseman. Those are dime a dozen. The one thing that does kind of, you know, help him out a little bit is the fact that he can play any of the outfield positions, too. So that's kind of valuable. If you could, you know, if you're looking for a left fielder or a right fielder or something like that, and you just want a big power bat, this is a guy that could serve that purpose. Or maybe you want him on your bench or something like that. He's a guy that could find utility in a lot of different scenarios. So that definitely helps him some, and he has pretty decent speed for a first baseman too. 68 is not bad. So I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.6 just because first base is just so saturated with left-handed power hitting first basemen, and it's very, very difficult to get much higher than that, but I do think that this is a card that definitely has some utility. Okay, now moving on to the event rewards. Guess what? We have another power-hitting left-handed first baseman. They're fucking everywhere, man. Like, understand that it's just because first base, like in real life, is heavily saturated, but my goodness, like, I've never been less excited about cards when they come out than left-handed power-hitting first baseman. But just kind of like the Cody Bellinger, this guy has the benefit of being able to play both outfield two outfield positions, the corners. Can't play center, and Bellinger can, so I don't know, maybe that's a factor. But this guy also has a more reliable glove. Maybe not a better glove because the Bellinger had better reaction, better arm strength, and better speed. But this guy has a more reliable glove. He's not going to make any, you know, unforced errors or anything like that, or as many as the Bellinger would. So that adds a tiny bit of value to him. And then hitting-wise, he's just like, you know, a ton of other left-handed hitting first basemen. He's extremely good versus righties, and then versus lefties, he still has a lot of power, but the contact isn't there. So do with that what you will. He's also a low vision guy, which kind of sucks, you know, smaller PCI or whatever. I ended up giving him a fag of a 7.0, and I feel like that's about right. I'm not really super stoked about this card, and I'm really, really stoked about this next card. So let's just move on from this, and let's talk about this next card, which is amazing. For those of you who are new to MLB The Show or Diamond Dynasty or anything like that, you may be looking at this card and saying, what is so special about this card? He doesn't throw that hard. He has 50 velocity. Yeah, his per-nines are good. Yeah, he has okay break. But I mean, he doesn't throw hard at all. That is not true. First of all, look up at the top corner, top half of the screen, and you will see his pitch selection. He has 5 different pitches, including a knuckleball, and a very effective knuckleball at that. To go along with 92, 91 per-nines, that is elite of the elite. That is, you know, top 3 per-nines in the game. And a knuckleballer that has per-nines that good, that's going to shrink PCIs that much, is going to be incredible. Add on top of that fact, the fact that his fastball gets up into the 90s, and he has 3 other breaking pitches that can play off of that knuckleball. And this guy is pure cheese. This guy is going to be... I never want to face this guy in Diamond Dynasty. I don't know how I'm going to hit this guy effectively. Because, first of all, I don't hit knuckleballers all that great in the first place, and whenever you throw all this other stuff in there, you know, his other pitches and stuff, last year I struggled against him a lot. Every now and then I'd have a good game against him, but the thing about last year is his per nines were just okay. I think they were, you know, about a 150 to 155, like if you combined them. They weren't extremely good. Right now, they're extremely good, and your PCI is going to be tiny. You are going to have to be precise as fuck against this guy. And he is just going to be insane to face. I can't wait to get this card, but I'm dreading facing this card because he is going to be miserable to face. And because of that, I gave him a fag of a 9.2, and I almost feel like that's low. I almost feel like this guy could be like one of the top 3 pitchers in the game, maybe even better than that. I don't know. I do think I like a couple other guys a little bit better, but right now, man, this guy is nasty, and a 9.2 is... like, I may come back and change it and go higher once I use him and once I see, you know, just how much he dominates other people. But this guy is disgusting, man. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Sorry about no videos in the past, you know, few days. I'm really, like, kind of feeling, like, I feel a little bit better, but I'm just, like, up and down. And, you know, I'm stubborn and I don't want to go to the doctor or anything like that. So, you know, forgive me, cut me a little bit of slack, and, you know, we'll get back on it on a consistent schedule very, very soon. I'm going to try to come out with a video tomorrow and all that good stuff. But anyways, guys, I will see y'all probably tomorrow. Almost definitely tomorrow. So yeah, guys, peace.